Oshkosh Media is government programming on GovTV, community programming on Life TV, and community radio on Oshkosh FM 101.9.
Welcome to the City Manager's Report, a look at city updates and a preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda.
And thanks for joining us for another edition of the City Manager's Report. I'm Andy Radig, and in a moment we'll be joined by Assistant City Manager John Fitzpatrick. As usual, in the first half of today's show, we'll have some municipal news updates, including items from city departments and things happening in Oshkosh. In the second half, we'll highlight items from the upcoming Tuesday, June 27th Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. And with that, we bring in our Assistant City Manager, John Fitzpatrick. And thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Andy.
All right. Well, we have a lot to talk about today, John.
Yes.
We'll start off with recently we had the rededication ceremony for the Chief Oshkosh Monument down in Menominee Park. And that took place on June 16th. And there was really a very nice ceremony and event that happened that day.
It was. We had a lot of great visitors there. I know the Menominee tribe was there. Mm-hmm. Governor Evers took time out of his busy schedule to be there.
Right.
And I know it's something that was in the works for a long, long time. I'm glad that the weather cooperated and people were able to enjoy all the work that was put into this project because it really involved all kinds of different people.
And so really what we're celebrating essentially is that we have some new plaques at the monument that tell a more complete story about Chief Oshkosh and the land where the city is today.
Absolutely. It was the monument that as it existed before was very brief, the information that was shared about Chief Oshkosh. But I think for history buffs or anyone that knows anything about Chief Oshkosh, he was just a tremendous individual, and his accomplishments and importance not only to the Menominees, but this region was immense. And I think the dialogue that's there on the plaques now really does a better job putting his contribution to our collective history in a better perspective for everyone. And I hope everyone has a chance, or if they have a chance to be in Menominee Park, that they take the time to check it out.
Right, absolutely. And in the video, you could see a little bit there that there were some dance celebrations by the Menominee tribe and a drum circle and really all kinds of things going on there. And this was really a partnership between a lot of community entities, organizations, some city departments. So.
Absolutely, yes. And even, external organizations too, like representatives from UW Oshkosh assisted with this. Our boards and commissions were part and parcel with this.
Right.
Our DEI committee, our landmarks commission. So it really was a collective effort, and I'm glad that it turned out as nicely as it did.
Yeah, it was wonderful. And that event actually, for folks that would like to view it, it is available on the Oshkosh Media YouTube channel as well as on GovTV. There are some replays scheduled for that. So take a look at the YouTube channel. You can watch the entire program right there and as though you were there. So take a look at that. All right, John, speaking of diversity in Oshkosh, the first Oshkosh Juneteenth Bagash celebration took place on June 10th. And, really this was another wonderful community celebration, and City Manager Roloff also was able to give some comments at the beginning of this.
He was. And, we were just talking about the cultural significance of, Chief Oshkosh and the monument at Menominee Park, and I think this is a good segue. That was a good segue to Juneteenth, and I think people understand that although the federal holiday is established on that Monday, June 19th, this celebration took place prior to that. It commemorates the anniversary of the end of slavery, really, in the United States.
Sure.
But it was really a great get-together, and City Manager Roloff was honored to have the opportunity to speak with other representatives locally. It was also a good time for everybody to get together and just have some good food, have some good dialogue, have some music, and I think a good time was had by all. And I know City Manager Roloff really appreciated the opportunity to speak at this event.
It's a wonderful thing for Oshkosh and something new. So that was good to see.
Right.
All right. Well, John, also being that it is summer and we're talking all these different things and events going on, we also have some road construction going on.
Right.
So one of those projects is over at Wisconsin Street, and we can give a little bit of an update over there. We recently had the chance to get our Oshkosh Media drone out, and
Right.
so we have some bird's eye view footage of some of these things. And
Good.
So over at Wisconsin Street, there's really a lot going on. And again, we like to remind folks that it's not just the surface level of the street that's being redone on these projects, but everything underneath as well.
Absolutely. It includes work on our sanitary sewer, which for people that don't understand the difference, the sanitary sewer is the waste that is collected that goes to our wastewater treatment plant. Water mains, storm sewer, where we have our storm inlets that collect the storm water, and all the corresponding laterals that need to be installed, replaced, repaired as needed. All of our road projects are important because they're all part of contiguous to the homes of the citizens that live here. But this Wisconsin Street project has been a long time coming, and we've done a lot of projects around Wisconsin Street. It's a really main arterial, I would say,
right.
in the community. And although you didn't mention it at the outset of this segment, we've really been fortunate. I know people are hoping for a little more rain because of their lawns, but as far as the road construction goes, these are ideal conditions. And I think, oftentimes we're really working hard to catch up, but the fact that we've had such good weather is really giving us an opportunity to maybe get ahead a little bit.
Right. And one of those other projects is over at East 9th Avenue, kind of a newer area that folks might not be quite as familiar with. And so this extends 9th Avenue all the way over to kind of where the Pioneer Island is and that area there.
Right.
And this is in the area of the Sawdust District, where some new development is about to take place.
It is, and this is kind of a precursor to some of the development, as you mentioned. We have a huge development that's planned there by T-Wall. I think it's upwards of, $75 million. And I think this extension of 9th will really facilitate the ease of people to enjoy that development, and as you mentioned, access Pioneer Island. The Riverwalk has been extended down there, and it looks like we have some shots of that from the drone that just shows how this is really going to make that area much more accessible for people. And I think people that have lived in and around Oshkosh for some time are very familiar with 9th Ave.
Right.
And so it'll be easy for them to get down to this area. And we're actively working on the Sawdust District and the redevelopment of that south side of Oshkosh there.
Sure, right. And we'll keep an eye on this project as it continues to develop.
Right.
Over on the north side of town on Bowen Street, north of Murdoch, we have another project going on, road construction. And really, this was all about everything going on underneath the road, a new sanitary interceptor sewer and storm sewer. So instead of relying on a lift station, this allows the everything to work based on gravity, so it'll help in many ways.
Absolutely, and this is a project that I drive past all the time. I think the last time I was on the show, I inadvertently talked about it being a storm sewer, but the Sanitary Interceptor sewer, in addition to the storm sewer, is really the major component of this project. So
sure.
I know it's taking a little bit of time. I know a lot of people use Bowen to also access A, but we just are asking for people's patience. And as I mentioned earlier, we're making some good progress because of the weather.
Right, right. It looks like about half of the road is paved at this point, so it's moving along.
And everything underneath that has already been put in place.
It's already there.
Right.
And we do want to remind folks to slow down and not speed through that area as well.
Right, right. I know that for the longest time people were going down in that area, and it made it difficult for us to complete construction work. We also want to make sure people feel comfortable accessing the Humane Society, which is in that area.
Sure.
Because they need your assistance on a regular basis. But you're right. Just be careful and take your time, and I think everything will work out fine there.
Right, right. And then downtown, we have West Lincoln Avenue, a project from Elmwood to Jackson Street. So there's also some construction going on over in that area. And we hadn't really talked about that one before, but we have some video over there.
Right, yeah. I think, West Lincoln is an area that people may not travel very much. It's somewhat in the university area.
Right.
So I think it's certainly an older street that we have in the community. And I think this is going to be welcomed by those people that live in that area. My aunt lived in that area when I was a little boy, so I was in that area quite a bit.
You know it well.
I do know it well, and I think there's some beautiful homes there, and this will be definitely an upgrade to that location.
Okay, very good. We'd like to remind folks as well, if they'd like to get emailed construction updates for road projects, in the Hot Topics section of the city's website, they can access a list of those email construction opportunities that they can sign up for. Also, there is a new construction updates and traffic restrictions webpage, and folks can link to that, and that has all the details on all these different projects, and it's quite interesting to take a look at.
It is very interactive.
All right. Then also, John, recently, kind of an unfortunate thing, we had the passing of the Oshkosh Police Department K-9 Lando, and so recently there was a memorial ceremony that took place in recognition of Lando's achievements.
Right, and it was certainly sad by not only people who are members of the police department, but all of the people that work at the city. Lando was very, very successful during his career and was a great partner to the Oshkosh PD and really the community. And it was very heartwarming to see other communities participate in this ceremony, including their canines. And people may not realize, how valuable canines are to our operation. They do things that our regular officers aren't able to do, and really, just like any other colleague, you build relationships with them at work, and Lando is really no different. I know that the handlers of Lando over the years, really became close. And so this was difficult for them, but I think it was also heartwarming that people took the time to recognize the contribution that was made by Lando.
Right, right. And Lando did serve Oshkosh since 2018 and conducted 203 deployments. So quite a bit of achievement there. And unfortunately, Lando did pass away on June 3rd after becoming ill unexpectedly.
Right.
And he did not respond to the treatments for the autoimmune disease that he had. So it was unfortunate, but it was a very appropriate memorial service with even a procession of other canines. And that memorial service can be found on the Oshkosh Media YouTube channel as well as on GovTV if folks would like to view that.
Yes.
Okay. Recently, the Oshkosh Fire Department had an opportunity to conduct some training over at Webster Stanley School, and that school actually is set to be demolished soon, and so it was an opportunity for the fire department to utilize that facility to do things that they might not otherwise be able to do. And so some training was happening over there very recently.
Yeah, we really appreciate our partnership.
We thought this was a great opportunity to get in here with our firefighters and work on some new techniques and do some live scenarios where we could actually go in the school, spray some water, and search for victims. This type of real-world training for us is important because it simulates the actuality of our job.
And the training over there covered such things as hose movement, forcible entry, fire attack, search and rescue, different things that they were able to do.
Right, and as I mentioned just prior to the clip, we really appreciate our partnership with the Oshkosh Area School District, and providing this opportunity was really valuable for our employees. So when we have a situation like this in the future, they have this experience and they feel more comfortable, and then they can perform at a much higher level.
Right. And the fire department is always looking for opportunities to provide, improve their services and their efficiency.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and then also, John, we wanted to touch on some holiday topics that are coming up. So some festivities are being planned for the 4th of July over at Menominee Park, and maybe similar to last year. But we also want to let folks know that the 4th of July parade in Oshkosh steps off at 9 a.m., and that begins over at the Convention Center, heads north on Main Street, and then to Irving Avenue, and then east on Irving to Menominee Park. And so that just starts off the day.
Right, I just can't believe it's almost the 4th of July already. It's really going fast, and Festival Foods has been a great partner with us for a long time to help sponsor this show. And so the Festival Foods fireworks show, I believe, takes place at dusk on the 4th. Isn't that
right.
correct, Andy?
That's right, and the rain date is July 5th.
I know sometimes people are wondering, is it on the 4th? Is it on the weekend?
Right.
But I think historically we've tried to have it on the 4th, and unless we've been interrupted by rain or some other kind of weather event. But it's my understanding, too, there's going to be some food trucks that are going to be available at Menominee Park.
That's right. So folks can come down not only for the fireworks show, but 16 food trucks will be staged throughout Menominee Park, part of a food truck rally that they're having. And so that should be pretty good. It's from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. at Menominee Park, throughout the park, with 16 food trucks. And also the Menominee Park train will be operating from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. So folks can have some train rides. There's also water equipment rentals that will be available during those same hours, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. So folks can come down and make a day of it down in Menominee Park.
I think people love Menominee Park. It's such a wonderful venue, and over 100 acres of park. It's really a gem for the community, and comparatively to other communities, it's rare to have a park of that size. And
right.
They can enjoy it anytime, but especially on the 4th of July with all these activities, you can't miss it.
Sure. And then also a reminder for some other 4th of July reminders, there will be no garbage or recycling collection on July 4th, on Tuesday, July 4th. Collections for the remainder of the week will be one day later, so normal Friday collection will take place on Saturday. And we also want to remind folks that the yard waste drop-off site on 3rd Avenue will be closed on July 4th. Go Transit will not be operating on July 4th. And then also City Hall, the Oshkosh Public Library, the Oshkosh Public Museum will be closed on Tuesday, July 4th. So
right.
Just some reminders for folks there. I think we might as well just move right into the City Council agenda, and we can do a little bit of a preview here of the upcoming agenda. Sure. And that is the agenda for the upcoming June 27th Oshkosh Common Council meeting that will be at City Hall at 215 Church Avenue. So, John, the agenda starts off with a workshop presentation at 5 o'clock p.m., and this is taking a look at the implementation of the recent housing study that was conducted.
All right, I think some people may have had the opportunity to tune in or access the housing study and understand what it's all about. But really, I know you and City Manager Roloff talk about a lot of emerging issues associated with housing.
Right.
Like, for example, homelessness. But really, for us to make sure we accommodate the needs of the community, we need to look at housing in a continuum. And there's really a spectrum of needs that the community has for housing, and that's what this, what the study detailed, and then hopefully the implementation and adoption of this study ultimately will implement those recommendations from homelessness to tiny homes to residential and also higher end residential. So I think it's something that community development has done a really good job on, and I'm anxious to see this move forward and be implemented.
Okay. And then we move into the regular meeting that starts at 6 p.m. And in the consent agenda, just moving down into the consent agenda, we have an item declaring official intent to reimburse expenditures relating to the lead service line replacement program. And I know that is something that Public Works has been very involved with for the last number of years.
Right, and I know also that you and City Manager Roloff and the staff here have tried to publicize our lead line replacement program. For people that don't know, prior to 1978, a lot of the laterals that lead into the home were constructed with the use of lead. And as people, I think, are aware, since that time, lead has been identified as something that could, have adverse impacts to people, children, women that may be pregnant. So this program helps defray the cost of replacing those lines that are between the home and actually our water system, because it can be quite costly to replace those. So it's something that I hope people are aware of and take advantage of, and if they need more information on that, they certainly can contact Public Works, and I believe we have some information on the website about that.
Right, there is a lot of information on the website on the Public Works area, so folks can take a look there. You can learn more about how to apply for a lead service replacement, and actually before that, an inspection to see what type of service that they have in their home.
Right. And I think sometimes people are afraid to have those inspections because they may feel like once it's looked at, that they're going to be responsible for paying, and they may not have the money. But this program is intended to help allay those fears and help people get those lines replaced so it can be safer for everyone involved.
Right. And they also take a look to make sure that that there is no backflow happening in the home, and that the water lines are connected properly so that the water is safe in the home. So that's another part of those inspections. Okay, John, a little bit later in the agenda, we have, in the consent agenda, we have a lot of approvals of different things. We're summertime here, and so there's a lot happening. And there are several items listed relating to approval of the National Night Out block party. And those are various locations around the city, and that is coming up on August 1st, Tuesday, August 1st this year. Right.
And National Night Out really began as an annual community building event that promotes police community partnerships.
Right.
But I think it's expanded beyond that now. I think people recognize it as a way to connect with their neighbors and build camaraderie in that regard. People host block parties, they have cookouts, and we try to assist with that and facilitate that dialogue and camaraderie with the neighborhoods by providing safety demonstrations. I know there's youth events. We have our emergency personnel. We have exhibits out there.
Right.
I know this is a little maybe too far, but I remember being in a dunk tank actually at a National Night Out. So that wasn't a pretty sight, but but I lived to talk about it.
Well, all kinds of fun stuff going on then if you were in a dunk tank.
Absolutely.
Well, and we can see from the video, it's a great opportunity for kids to get involved. And, you know, here we have an officer playing basketball with neighborhood kids.
Right.
You know, and I know the fire department has a presence as well.
Absolutely.
And if folks are lucky, they might even see Canine Magic there
Right.
for a visit. So,
Right. No, always very popular.
yeah, definitely. So it's a great opportunity, and we'll have more information as that gets a little bit closer.
Right.
Okay, under the new ordinances, we have some items relating to boards and commissions, and if you could shed some light on what these items are about.
Sure. This is really some of the final detailing associated with adoption of some recommendations of a council subcommittee that was designed to take a look at our optional boards and commissions and try to make them more efficient. So the council adopted the recommendations of that subcommittee, and they involve some consolidations of some committees, the reduction of the sizes of some of the committees, because unfortunately we had quite a few boards and commissions that weren't held because we couldn't have quorums. So the intent of this whole initiative was to try to make this a better experience for those volunteers, and also have the meetings take place because they're very important. We want that citizen participation, and the council really depends on the ideas that citizens provide in these boards and commissions. So this is just an additional extension and finalizing some of the details associated with some of the consolidations of these groups and the reductions of the membership.
Okay, all right, very good. And then a little bit later, we have some notices of some upcoming workshop meetings down the road here a little bit. June 28th, we have a capital improvement program budget workshop.
We do, and for people that aren't familiar with that component of our budget, the capital improvement program is really intended to address issues that are larger dollar items that extend beyond 10 years. It can include facilities oftentimes, but also we discussed construction projects earlier in the show. So there's a whole variety of things, but those are larger dollar items, and it really is intended to be planned over a series of years. Because they're such large dollar items, we want the citizens to understand what's planned over time and the associated costs with those.
Right, right. Yeah, we showed all the video of the road construction
Right.
projects earlier. This is the early planning for future projects
It
just
is.
like those.
Right, and a lot of people are waiting to have those things done, and we don't want to surprise anyone. We want everybody to know what's on the docket.
Okay. All right, very good. Then also at the end of the meeting, it looks like there might be a little bit of discussion about the recent shared revenue bill that was passed at the state level.
Right, and I know you've heard City Manager Roloff talk about this a little bit, but I'm glad that I have the opportunity to fill in for him at this meeting because, truth be told, City Manager Roloff was very instrumental in the facilitation of this bill from the local level because he's been around for a while. He has a lot of connectivity with his colleagues,
Right.
not only at the city level but at the township level and village level because he worked in the town arena for quite some time, and he also I think has the respect of not only those people that worked in those areas of government but also the elected officials that he interfaced with, and although he would not be saying what I'm saying right now, behind the scenes, he was very instrumental in having this bill be passed. And what it means, I think, for the citizens is there'll be more money that's shared from the state with local municipalities. So rather than local municipalities having to tax citizens more for needs that come up in the future, hopefully that pressure won't be quite as great on our local citizens because the state and the elected officials at the state level have decided to share some of the sales tax money back to to the municipalities.
Well, it's a very important thing, and I know there's been work done on that for many years. So
Absolutely. Unfortunately, I think we're only getting back to like 1992 levels of funding, but it's an improvement.
Okay, very good. Well, John, we're out of time. Thank you very much for your insights today.
Thank you for having me, Andy.
And thank you for joining us today. Again, that Oshkosh Common Council meeting is at 6 p.m. this Tuesday, June 27th. Thanks again for joining us today.